Story. Oh, I will find things. I look for things. I'm like Columbo.
Your voice is like glass. Like it's just this crisp thing. How did you focus on that as your instrument as opposed? Yeah, no problem. I mean, that's the truth of the matter is you can sing is what I'm trying to say. How did you focus on that versus being a banjo player or fiddle player or something?
Of course, I've taken lessons and done things to help refine that talent, but I've always just been drawn to it. It's always been the most natural way for me to express myself. I think getting to where I am now, I think when I was trying to find my real voice, like as a musician, I would imitate a lot of other singers until I got to the point where I was like, actually, I don't have to do all these bells and whistles. I don't have to do all these different kinds of tones or inflections that are from other people. I can sing more purely and hit the note because what I have doesn't need more. The best part about singing is that nobody else has your voice, and you have to get to know it and accept it for what it is and appreciate it for what it is.
When you were younger, were you resentful of your voice? It wasn't too far departed from the grunge era, and everybody was like, did you ever wish it was more like that?
Never.
I grew up on Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, and Aretha Franklin, and like Ella Fitzgerald. I like grungy music for the band aspects of it, but actually I didn't get into that till later because it wasn't originally what I gravitated towards.
Normally, I meet people who are very dedicated to the music scene. There's a lot of burden that comes with that. There are people who have been pretty much eviscerated by it, and they're usually very depressed and this is me overstating dramatically. It's a lot of hyperbole. But my point is that there's people who are very fed up, and you never seemed like that. You seem very optimistic, and it seems like you have a lot of positivity that you bring to what you're doing. Am I reading that incorrectly, or is that something you purposely bring to your side of the equation?
I think some of it is purposeful, and then another part of it is me assessing the root of if I'm feeling down about it, does something need a jump start? Do I need to take a different approach to my creativity? It usually has to do with feeling creatively stunted or creatively frustrated. That's usually the core of it. And once I can get in there and start writing or doing something different, usually it shakes up the energy and then another gig pops up or things start moving along. It's always just finding where that hang up is.
Do you see it as just kind of take a breath, see what you can make work?
Right.
But you're playing guitar now. That's something that you've come a little bit later to doing. You're teaching yourself guitar?
Yes, very true. I am the layer of sound at this point. I'm just experimenting with how it fits into the rest of the band or how it accompanies me as a solo artist versus trying to be like a lead guitarist. That's not really what I'm interested in. I'm just trying to figure out how it accompanies a song.
Do you see yourself as Christina and then Christina does Christina's thing and then Lady Lupine is one aspect of that? Or do you see yourself as having grown with Lady Lupine and developed yourself with it, but now you're ready to fly the nest?
I think they coexist and they feed each other. My solo stuff, if I want to write bad girl, whatever, singer-songwriter music, I can do that. And a lot of times that's not appropriate for the gigs that Lady Lupine plays. I need to scratch that itch. That's perfect for solo stuff versus sometimes the things I think I'm writing for solo stuff, I'm like, oh man, this needs a band. And then I can bring it to the guys. I can kind of compartmentalize what's going where.
Do you see yourself as a lyricist or mostly a performer who uses the lyrics as substance for that?
Honestly, I think I'm a lyricist.
What's your favorite lyric that you wrote? Which is a disgusting question to ask anybody, but I'm going to
my God. Oh my goodness.
You don't do that to people, but I'm doing it.
I'm like, oh man, I'm going to sound so humble. I really there's two songs where I'm really proud of the lyrics. There's a few. I really do like Pennies. I really like the analogies in that song.
What is that song about?
Releasing wanting somebody who doesn't want you back.
Go, go, go.
Kind of the same subject.
Really?
Yeah. I was going through it when I wrote this.
So you have Pennies and you have Ghosts. It's all about
Ghosts.
Feudal England current.
Ooh, Ghosts.
Ghosts is also about living with the specter of somebody that you once knew.
Yes, releasing somebody who's no longer there and having trouble with it.
Lady Lupine has a physical appearance. Y'all use a lot of solstice imagery it's got references to nature. It's got references to spirit. Is that kind of what y'all are going for?
It's just been fun to use that for aesthetics, and it's been fun. Honestly, the other thing that I love to do is I like to illustrate. It's been really fun to pull together images that feel like they match the sound and vibe.
You drew those pictures?
Oh, yeah, I drew those.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, I draw.
That's hip. What else have you drawn outside of the music world?
I really use that as the best platform. So I draw a lot of bar flyers. I like digital art, but I'm definitely a hack.
Who's that dude from Hootie and the Blowfish?
Oh my God, what's his name? Oh, I want to be a hero.
Darius Rucker, yeah. So Darius Rucker has long had to battle the fact that he's Hootie from Hootie and the Blowfish. He's like, I'm not Hootie. I'm just Darius Rucker, and this is my thing. Do people think you're the Lady Lupine?
Yeah, and honestly, that doesn't bother me. I don't care. That's fine if they want to say that. They mean well. It's fine.
Is there a backstory to her? Is she a character you folks write about sometimes or want the records to teach us about?
Originally, the name was picked simply because the alliteration was nice. It just kind of had like kind of a random pick. And while we were mulling it over, I kind of did some Google searches. And what really solidified it as the band's name is I found this children's book from the 80s. It's called Miss Rumphius. It's about this woman who has 3 goals, and it shows her like aging throughout her life. It's travel to far places, to live by the ocean and make the world a more beautiful place. The book concludes with her as an older woman, having lived by the ocean, having traveled to faraway places, and she says, the only thing I have left to do is make the world a more beautiful place. So the way that she accomplishes this, she fills her pockets full of lupin seeds, and she goes across the coast, she tosses all these seeds onto the earth, and it sprouts up a bunch of lupin flowers. And I was like, I love that. It's kind of like our music is our make the world a more beautiful place. I know that's really cheesy, but meant more. You have to remember that there's like so much beauty in the world, and it's hard to remember that, especially in recent days with everything being so intense.
What's the most beautiful thing in the world?
Oh, love, I guess?
Love is the most beautiful thing in the world?
Yeah, probably.
Oh. What's the worst thing in the world then?
Hate, I guess. I'm oversimplifying, but hey, it's a broad question. A broad answer is going to happen.
What's the best kind of dog breed?
Oh, this is a good question. A mutt?
What's a mutt? A mutt is like a blend, isn't it? But a mutt is like a blend of other dog breeds, right?
Exactly. Yes. Mutts are better. They're healthier, and what we've done with the dog gene is weird, and I don't like it. So go get a mutt from a shelter.
Was there a book, Lady Lupine, that changed your life, or Mrs. Lupine?
It was Miss Rumphius, if you want to look it up. And you're asking about a book that I love?
Like, there's books that I love. I just think about them sometimes. Is there a book that made you say, well, I got to change everything? Like, this is it. My whole insides are different now.
This book is called On Writing by Stephen King. He talks about his whole creative process. He puts a lot of personal stories in it. But I love it just for anybody who needs a creative process, who has a creative process. He just talks about showing up every day. Talks about as long as you show up, you're good. And you can write a bunch of garbage, but you have to write it to get to the good stuff. Giving yourself a break, letting yourself write without restraint, without judgment. And I really loved that. That was a book that stuck with me that I would definitely read over again, that I would recommend to creative people. I love it.
One thing that I also have noticed is that as a performer, you seem very in the moment. And obviously, there's some distractibility from nerves and whatnot, and that happens to all of us. But more than anything, you seem like when you're on stage, your brain is working, you're there. And I have noticed over the years, like, I won't say who it was, but I saw this one band, I want to see them for years. They were absolutely smashed on stage. Like, they were just so drunk. It was such a waste of my time and money having gone to see that because they couldn't even perform. But that's never happened. I've seen you perform 4 or 5 times now, and you seem really with it. Is that a conscious effort, or is that just you as a person in general?
I think it is. Well, I used to honestly drink because I was so nervous for live performances, especially when I was much younger. I think I started singing in front of people when I was 24, really. And I would be so nervous, and it just takes doing it over and over and over again, and then just coming to the realization that you want your faculties, that I want to be present, I want to enjoy it. And also there's a lot of learning about taking your ego out of it, because the performance really isn't about you. It's about catharsis. It's about people. It's about doing the art justice. Your ego is going to destroy it.
They dedicated their time out of their life and their brains, they're there for you, and you're just going to waste it by getting all chopped up.
My gratitude is so high for anybody who gets off their couch and shows up to a show of mine. Oh my God, I struggle to get off the couch and you're here. Amazing. So it's just gratitude, the desire to make a good time, to make it what's, artistic, and so that we can feel things, hang out together and have that connection.